Hi, everyone. Radha, Neela, and I from Women Who Write are here again, and we're really excited to be here. We're going to be sharing some beautiful new offerings with you and our discussions that we feel are activations for ourselves, and we'd like to share it with you as well. So we want to just say thank you for those of you who've been tuning in, and it's also October 1st. So it's a time where retrogrades are ending, and we thought it was a great time to connect. Radha, would you like to say a few words before we get started?
Absolutely. Yeah, we've really been enjoying diving into this shadow work and womb healing. And, we've come together over the months and we've put together this incredible program called the Sophianic Womb Keeper. It's a certification program and it's also a 12-week journey where we enter into the shadows of ourselves and transmute them into the light. So I'm really excited to be here with you, Gila, to talk about that.
Yeah, me too. And I think that as we are creating this new program and diving in together, we've been noticing parallel experiences as well as diving into our own shadows, which we're going to be sharing with you through this deep coursework that we're going to be doing. And I think that we thought it was really important that we begin to share pieces of that with you throughout these podcasts so you can fully understand what you're receiving and the depths that we're going to be going into together.
Absolutely. Yeah, so each month we're going to be focusing on a specific shadow aspect of the womb because the womb is a cauldron, and we as women often, more often than not, hold our deepest fears, our deepest pain, and our secrets. And they start to collect there in this cauldron. And if you are an empath, then you get the bonus of also holding other people's stuff in your womb as well. So it is really important that we move into the womb, and we are going to be working with various themes for each month so that we can start to bring light into the womb and address and face our shadows, and not from a place of fear, but a place of courage, strength, and compassion, because we know that every single human being on this earth has been through so much, and now is the time to start unraveling these heavy secrets and heavy weight that we all carry so that we can lighten our load before we step into the new year of 2023, right, Gila?
Yes, totally. I think that we were guided to offer this during this time right before the new year because we know how challenging some of the holidays are, especially for those of us that live in the States and even in any part of the world. When we get together with family, some of this wounding, some of these codes that we keep in our womb space are are blocked or are not able to fully be realized because of the wounding that you just talked about so clearly. It gets triggered, and then we go back into some of these repeated patterns or even programming that we've been receiving through our families, through the social media, through just the media at large. And so we are here to uncover that, to unravel that, to look at the truth in whatever timeline, in whatever way that each of us can, so that we can truly see what is what is and who
Mhm.
we really are.
Absolutely. I think it was funny and ironic that we both watched the movie about Marilyn Monroe last night too, which was called Blonde, right?
Hmm. That was just amazing that we both, yeah, it was just incredible. We just shared that today. It was psychically, we were just drawn to that, intuitively. And I'd like you to share a bit about what you thought of it, since you've been in the film industry, and what you think of the film industry now.
I thought it was a really, it was a biopic movie, so it was based on a true story, but the elements are you know are very real about what happened to her. If you know about her story, she was very abused throughout her childhood and through the movie industry. In my first book, Memoirs of a Galactic Goddess, I wrote a little bit about her because I wrote about Hollywood
Mm-hmm.
and about how it's very not very known, but she was forced to do a lot of things against her will, but one of them was to inject her breast as well with silicone, because that's what they were doing at that time. That was their form of breast implants,
Mm-hmm.
which we now know that makes people very, very sick.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I thought it was an incredible movie to really bring these shadows in our face, that what goes on behind closed doors. Everybody wants the glossy perfection, but nobody wants to deal with the truth of what the cost is of that, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't just believe that's still going on today. I'm 100% sure that's still going on today. Everyone says that the entertainment industry has changed, but I can tell you firsthand that there are many aspects that have not, and that there's still parallels to that horror reality. And so, why is this important to look at? People have had visceral reactions to this film and they hate it. And I've read people can never look at Marilyn Monroe again now, and they've shattered the illusion around this, glittery star that was manufactured and abused along the way, just like Britney Spears and all the others.
Mm-hmm.
And so, why is this important? It's because we have to face our shadow. There are shadows in this world that many are not willing to face. They want to be sold the glossy images, but they don't really want to feel into the truth. And it scares them because why? Why does it scare them? Because they haven't faced their own shadow. And until you're willing to face your own shadow, it will be very difficult to face any shadows outside of you. But that is actually wherein our power lies. The more that we can indeed face our shadow, face the truth, the deeper and stronger we become within ourselves. We become fortified within us. And so it's not a fragment. We identify with things outside of ourselves as a collective and project upon it. When that thing that we project upon is the illusion is shattered, we get angry as a collective. So where do we need to take responsibility for our own shadows so that we can accept our own imperfections, our own traumas, and not just accept it, but integrate them, bring healing by looking at them, honoring them, and doing so in a way that is totally safe and contained, which is actually very, very important. And also, through a longer period, we're going to be traveling 12 weeks together, into the new year. And I think to me, that's very exciting because we're going to be going through ringing the bells together. And by the time we get into the new year, there's a huge integration that's occurred and occurring actively still, because we know that with this work, it's a lifelong thing. We're always coming up to new versions and levels of ourselves, right?
Yes, totally. Thank you. Thank you for that, Radha. I think it's really important, for someone in the industry to discuss this. And I also think that, not only are we going to be traveling together and integrating the shadow, and breaking apart illusions. I think sometimes when we break apart illusions, we feel empty, because these are some of the ideals that we've been clinging to, And when we don't have that anymore, it's like, what do we have? And I think those are important questions to ask ourselves. What
Yes.
is really important to us? What do we really need? Watching the movie from a person that hasn't been in the film industry, I felt really sad for. I knew that she had a sad story, but it was just I had like more of a visceral effect to that. And I was just thinking, and in the kinds of work that I've been doing, I haven't been in that kind of industry, but I do think that sexualizing women or even sexualizing men, children, it happens all the time. And
Mhm.
that aspect of our lives is really not necessary. I mean, I understand that people have desires. I totally get that. But I think non-consensual anything is really not permissible in our society anymore. Like, we have to put our foot down. And I feel like this work is going to help everyone, including ourselves, to
Mhm.
say no and create really strong boundaries. That fortification that you're talking about, really just strong boundaries to say, this is not acceptable for me, for my children, for anyone that I know, because I will not accept this kind of behavior, for a person that I work in corporations. And I think it's really important that we have strong boundaries regardless of where we are, because we can always be manipulated to go into higher roles if we act in the right way. And I think
Mhm.
it's up to us as individuals, as beings of light, to really connect to that inside of our hearts and our womb spaces to say, what is right? It's That's where it is. The truth is in our womb.
I'm so with you. And our womb has been covered. It's been covered up by all of this collective shadowy trauma that really nobody's wanted to deal with.
Hmm.
And that's why we are where we are at this particular juncture. Everybody wants to point the finger and they want false idols. And then they get angry when the idols aren't perfect. So let's just stop that nonsense and let's start to go within where it really matters. What else matters than what's going on with inside of you, inside of your womb, inside of your heart? Why are we giving our energy all outwards? We have to step back into ourselves and we have to address these shadowy issues. Um, and most of these woundings are not necessarily from us. Generational, abuses, distortion of the collective consciousness, which becomes part of our womb. These things all cloud our judgment. They cloud our ability for our womb to be our intuitive oracle, which it is our oracle, right? And so we want to elevate to our highest light. And through these healing transmissions in this sacred container over these 12 weeks, we both assist in clearing and releasing traumas and holding this very strong sacred space for you to experience a profound clearing within yourself, which is most important.
Yes, yes, it's really important. And we're in these 12 weeks, we're going to be delivering transmissions, goddess activations, quantum healing. We're going to do group coaching where you're actually live with us, where that's where we meet once a month. And we are also going to be providing coursework, which includes writing prompts, and in our live meetings, we're going to have some embodied movements. So it's not just that we're meeting once and you're receiving a transmission. Where there's coursework behind every single theme for every single month that you're with us, and we get to interact with what you're sharing with us. So every time we meet together, it becomes more of a bonding and a strengthening and that fortification that you mentioned, because we both realize that, though we love doing live meetings, there's a lot of the work that needs to be done that can't always be done live. Sometimes we need to reflect and we need to integrate, and we need to write. And we thought that it's really important that we read what you're writing, that we understand you, so that when we come together in these live coaching sessions, we can truly help you through these patterns, these illusions, and hold you in a safe container as we unravel them together.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Yeah, there's nothing like being heard and witnessed and honored as you transmute, you know, these old programmings is what I like to call them.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have soul sisters and you're in real time with them, there's something powerful that happens when we really remember our sisterhood. We sort of lock into this, it's like we're creating this beautiful temple, which we used to go to. We used to be
Mm-hmm.
part of this. Many of us were part of this, and divine sisterhood of the rose and all of these things where when we come together, we alchemize so much. And I really believe that when we do choose to step into these circles, when we each have a profound shift, a breakthrough, a release of an unwanted energy pattern, that these also ripple into the world, into the collective as a possibility. It's kind of like the 100th monkey kind of scenario where we break through, enough energy layers, and it starts to make a huge difference for everyone else. So that is also another thing that really motivates me and excites me about us all coming together. Um, and yeah, thank you so much for listening.
Yes, yes. It's so true. I think that it's really important that we understand that it's not just our individual work and our individual families. It really is a ripple effect into society, into everything that we do. Yes, and thank you again for listening. And please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. We're going to be sharing a link to where you can register. And if you have any questions, we'll be sharing our email addresses so that you can send us questions if you'd like.
Oh, thank you so much. Much love and blessings to you all. We look forward to hearing from you and connecting with you much deeper.
Yes, thank you.